All right.
Okay, we'll get started here. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming in and joining us today. My name is Brandon Peterson. I'm the principal at West Oak Middle School, and we're also, and as part of our what we have to offer with our SEL committee yearly offerings here is our Parent University. This is our first one for the year, so nothing better than to start off strong here with our one-to-one Chromebook distribution presentation. So I'm gonna kick it over to our other two panelists to introduce themselves and to get started.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Hansen, the Director of Technology and Communications. I'm excited to join everybody tonight to talk a little bit about our one-to-one program and a little bit about the systems and any sort of Q&A for our families at any time tonight. Sammy.
Hi, my name is Samira Calderon, and I'm the Community Liaison for District 76, and I am here to translate tonight. Buenas tardes a todos, muchas gracias por haber unirse a nosotros hoy. Es el director, señor Peterson, y el director de Tecnología y Comunicación, señor Hansen, y van a presentar un poco sobre las computadoras para los niños y cómo el modo de uso que los usan aquí en el Distrito 76.
All right, let me
And if we could jump in here, Eric, so for any families that are here, you guys can ask a question at any time using the Q&A button here down below, and we will get to those periodically, but we'll definitely try to answer all your questions before we leave. I know some of you will be getting your child's Chromebook for the first time, and we want to kind of help you get acclimated to it to just make sure everything runs smoothly. So so without further ado here, Mr. Hansen.
All right.
Si en cualquier momento tienen alguna pregunta, pueden ponerla en la cajita de abajo y al final o durante la presentación van a regresar a contestar preguntas antes de que se termine la presentación.
All right. So I should be sharing my screen, and let me just minimize this. So as I mentioned before, we are this is the one-to-one Chromebook program presentation that we're going to be providing. And as we start the year, I want to share that our school district, whether you're kindergarten through 8th grade, all of our students have devices. However, grades 3 through 8 take them home. And I will talk a little bit about that today.
De nuevo, es la presentación sobre el programa de 1-a-1 de Chromebooks aquí del Distrito 76. Todos los niños de kinder a octavo grado reciben una computadora. Los niños de tercero a octavo grado, ellos se llevan sus computadoras a casa todos los días.
All right. So one of the first things that I was going to share with everybody today is today's presentation itinerary. So as I mentioned, first thing we're going to talk a little bit about is our one-to-one updates. These are just quick updates regarding our one-to-one campus and in our West Oak campus in our one-to-one program. Expectations and responsibility. We want to review our student expectations and device responsibilities. How do our students access academics using our devices in an educational environment? Device management, what does that mean? How does our D76 manage student device Chromebooks? And communications, there are various methodologies of communication within our teachers and classrooms, and it's very important for us to have that homeschool partnership. So I want to talk a little bit about the communications that are readily available and any typical frequent asked questions, and answer any kind of common questions our families have.
So, vamos a hablar sobre nuestra agenda de la presentación de hoy. Primero es las actualizaciones de 1-a-1 en el campus de la escuela West Oak. La segunda parte sería las expectativas y responsabilidades. Hablar sobre cuáles son las expectativas de los estudiantes y las responsabilidades de las computadoras. La área académica, cómo los estudiantes usan las computadoras en un entorno educativo y la administración de dispositivos, cómo el Distrito 76 administra los Chromebooks y comunicaciones, varios métodos para que los estudiantes se comunican con sus maestros, y 6 preguntas frecuentes, una oportunidad de poder contestar preguntas que tengan los padres.
All right. So focusing on our one-to-one Chromebook updates. So as I mentioned before, 4th grade through 8th grade received their Chromebooks yesterday. So Tuesday, August 22nd was every student received their Chromebook. Within their Chromebook, they received their bag, a charger, and Chromebook. Every student makes sure, it's always important from the technology department to ensure that all of our students receive every single device and they get updated over the course of the summer and they receive them as of yesterday. So that's fantastic. If your student is brand new or wasn't here yesterday or today, they'll be receiving their Chromebook when they arrive back at school, which is great. As I mentioned, third grade students will begin taking their Chromebooks home Tuesday, September 26th. And this is by design as we work with our building principal and West Oak Intermediate third grade team, just to make sure as our students transition from Diamond Lake School to West Oak Intermediate, feeling comfortable and acclimated using Chromebooks, and then to have that month of foundational knowledge so before they start taking their devices home.
So, de nuevo, como habíamos mencionado, los estudiantes de cuarto o octavo grado se llevarán sus computadoras a casa el martes 22 de agosto. So, todos los estudiantes deberían de haber llevado a casa una computadora, el estuche de la computadora y su cargador a casa. Si por alguna razón no lo recibieron o no estuvieron presentes o son nuevos estudiantes al distrito, lo van a estar recibiendo ya que regresen. Los estudiantes de tercer grado, ellos van a empezar a llevar sus Chromebooks a la casa el lunes 26 de septiembre. Esto fue diseñado para poder acostumbrar a los estudiantes ahora que hicieron la transición de la escuela Diamond Lake a la escuela intermedia y trabajar con los maestros para que ellos puedan aprender sobre las cosas básicas de cómo cuidar sus Chromebooks antes de llevárselos a casa.
Hey. All right. So, as a parent and, we want to talk a little bit and in our school district, we want to talk a lot about expectations and responsibilities. So these are really important expectations and responsibilities we want to instill in all our children to be, better digital citizens and have a great year with their devices. So here's a very important thing is to make sure that, our students receive a device in a case, as you see the image on this presentation, and all students want to make sure they keep their device in their dedicated case. That keeps the device nice and secure. So if there's any sort of drops or anything like that, that it's going to be nice and secure and not get damaged. It's very important, even though every student receives a charger, to have, there's a zipper with their bag to keep their charger with them. So it's very important for students to take their charger with them to and from school, not to leave it at home or leave it at school. It's always important to do so. A lot of times we have students that may lose their charger or let people borrow it and they lose it, and it turns kind of a little mess, and it doesn't affect their school and their instructional experience. So it's always just important to make sure that charger is always attached to the bag, so our students, when the battery gets lower or whatever the case may be, they could charge it at anywhere at any time. Once again, we want to make sure our students are not loaning their charger to friends as much as we have a bunch of friends or out there. It's always important that they have their charger and you have your charger, so you're responsible for your own materials. It's when you're not using your Chromebook, and this is a good thing to utilize in your life, whether it's a computer, Chromebook, doesn't really matter. It's always to keep it in a secured location when you're not in use. So if you're at the buildings, you want to make sure that you're either putting the locker if you're going to gym or wherever the case may be. If you're at home, placing it on the floor probably is not a good idea. So in an area that's appropriate to place your Chromebook to charge and also to have access to it is going to be very beneficial for the students. As always, it's always important to practice cybersecurity and practice safety. So we don't want to share our login passwords with our friends or family. We want to keep that secure, individualized. And one of the most important things too is we always want to instill being a good digital citizenship, or digital citizen. And one of the things we want to focus on is ensuring that there is no, tampering or modifications that are strictly prohibited. So doing things to try to get around a firewall or filter on your device is going to be noticeable, as the tech department always kind of observes and monitors the entire device. And we don't want to have that conversation when it comes to what happens next when it comes to that, because it kind of breaks a little bit of the school rules. And we want to make sure that our students are safe and they're using their educational device to the best of their ability for school.
Estas son algunas de las expectativas y responsabilidades que tienen para los estudiantes. Es de siempre mantener los Chromebooks de los estudiantes dentro de su estuche exclusivo. Como pueden ver en la foto, el Chromebook que tienen está en su estuche. Siempre llevar el cargador del estudiante a y de la escuela dentro de su bolsa. En el estuche hay una bolsita donde pueden guardar su cargador. Es importante que lo puedan cargar en casa, su Chromebook, pero también si su batería se va más se acaba o se está bajando, puedan cargarlo en cualquier momento y tengan su cargador con ellos. De no prestar su cargador a amigos, a veces algún amigo le puede pedir prestado el cargador porque se le olvidó y es solo de recordarle a los niños de no prestárselo a alguien más porque después se puede perder o no lo regresan y ellos ya no tienen el cargador y pues le afectaría durante el día escolar. De siempre dejar el Chromebook en un lugar seguro cuando no esté en uso. Por ejemplo, y esto sería para cualquier cosa en la vida, de no dejar los Chromebooks en el piso. Si no están usando el Chromebook, de ponerlo en un lugar seguro, ya sea en su locker o en un salón, en un lugar donde se pueda mantener seguro y no esté, donde algo le pueda pasar o dañarse. También es desde siempre dejar el Chromebook en, oh, perdón, nunca compartir su contraseña de inicio de sesión con amigos y las manipulaciones o modificaciones están estrictamente prohibidas. Ya si un estudiante trata de hacer una manipulación o modificación a la computadora, el departamento de tecnología siempre está viendo viendo y revisando qué es lo que están usando los niños o haciendo los niños. O es muy importante de no tratar de hacer ningún tipo de modificación porque ellos se van a dar cuenta y van a tener que tener una conversación debido a que se están quebrando algunas de las reglas de la escuela.
So as we focus on academics, it's, this is a methodology and a device that kind of gets us connected. A lot of our work that we're working on, whether it's our learning management system or it's the office of online systems that we use, it all kind of filters in through that Chromebook. So it's always important, it's tied to that student's account. Just as an overall understanding of what our students utilize, we have two different learning management systems. For this purpose today, we're talking about West Oak campus. We use Google Classroom for all of our students to sign into their classroom to be able to see what assignments they have, to have discussion boards, so on and so forth in that learning management system. We are a Google Workspace district, so Chromebooks is a Google product, so they have a Google account to sign into that LMS for student learning and engagement and collaboration. Even though we're not talking about Diamond Lake School, I always want to make sure our families are well aware that they utilize Seesaw, and that's more of like a kid-friendly learning management system. They do a lot of the same information, just more in a kid-friendly way for K through 2. Through Google Class, through G Suite or Google Workspace, whether it's the email or using Google Classroom, that's where we're going for engagement, collaboration, grading, student communications. That's being direct communicated to our students from our staff, and it's very beneficial. And that's where they utilize a lot of in-class collaboration, class assignments, and class assessments. And then in addition to that, all of our assessments and additional instruction that we utilize from other resources all get driven through that Chromebook.
Ahora vamos a hablar sobre el área académica. El Distrito 76 usa el Workspace de Google, que es una plataforma donde tienen el salón de Google, hay Google, el correo electrónico de Google, varios métodos y lo usan son un sistema de manejo de aprendizaje. El director de tecnología quería dejarles saber que estamos hablando hoy sobre el campus de West Oak, pero también les quería dejar saber que en la escuela Diamond Lake, para los más chiquitos, se usa la plataforma de Seesaw, que es básicamente lo mismo, pero es una manera más fácil y se puede manejar con más facilidad para los niños más pequeños. El Google Workspace es para los grados de 3º a 8º grado y diferentes cosas pueden usarlo como para la participación y la colaboración, comunicaciones con los estudiantes y los personal de la escuela, e evaluaciones e instrucción también.
So one of the things from a parent perspective we want to make sure our families are well aware of is that we use GoGuardian as our CIPA filter and monitoring mechanism for all of our students. And it's not necessarily for the device itself, it's actually tied to our students' account. So if our student signs into any Chromebook or signs into any computer using Chrome with their District 76 account, GoGuardian kind of automatically applies this filtering mechanism. So it's always continuing to monitor our student accounts, the devices on Chromebooks, including content, the filtering, which means it'll block certain things that our students shouldn't see, provide smart alerts from the technology department to share with building administration if a student is looking up something inappropriate or there's something we need to do an investigation, they'll provide that. And last but not least, they'll provide lost mode, which is, it's not to say it's going to find the student device, but if a student left or lost a device and the next time it comes active, it does display, it does give us an alert and lets us know the general location where the device is. So it kind of keeps our device completely secure, helps our teachers monitor our classes through GoGuardian sessions, allows our teachers to be able to non-verbally redirect students and manage, uses a classroom management resource. And it also provides, it does have the ability for our staff to be able to obtain student browsing reports if needed. So it's a wonderful resource that's tied to our students, allows our students to be safe, to apply a filter wherever they go, and allows the organization as a whole, whether it's teachers, administration, students, families, the ability to just monitor what's going on.
El Distrito 76 usa una plataforma que se llama GoGuardian para monitorear las cuentas y los dispositivos de los estudiantes en Chromebooks, incluido el filtro de contenido, las alertas inteligentes y el modo perdido. Todo esto, eso no solamente está conectado con la computadora, está conectado con la cuenta de Google del estudiante. So, si el estudiante se conecta a alguna otra Chromebook por el día o cualquier otra dispositivo, perdón, ellos podrían estar a la cuenta de GoGuardian conectada con la cuenta del estudiante y los maestros, la administración pueden estar monitoreando todo tiempo qué es lo que están viendo los niños y también les mandan alertas a la administración y a los maestros por si algo están viendo inapropiado o si es algo que deben de investigar. También les deja a las maestras dar acceso a poder ver si los niños necesitan redirección a ver otra cosa o hacer alguna otra cosa durante la clase y también les deja hacer reportes sobre qué están viendo los niños. De nuevo, para los maestros, monitorea su salón de clase a través de las sesiones de GoGuardian, tienen la capacidad de redirigir a los estudiantes de forma no verbal y administrar los dispositivos de los estudiantes dentro de la clase y puede obtener informes de navegación de los estudiantes si es necesario.
All right, so it's just a dive into Google Classroom, as you mentioned before. So Classroom Learning Management System utilized at West Oak campus. So whether you're third grade through eighth grade, your students use Google Classroom. This is the area where students collaborate on classwork, discussions, and assessments, and a whole bunch more. It's the entire suite when it comes to the entire learning management system for West Oak. From a parent perspective, it's always there is a way to get guardian access to student progress when you're invited from your student's teacher. So if you haven't been invited, you want to connect up with your student's teacher, so your child's teacher, and just to get guardian access. And pretty much what you get is you get a weekly digest of all the events that are happening so that you know how your student's doing and progressing in their classrooms. In addition to that, your student is a one-to-one device, right? So if you would like to see exactly what it looks like, until Google is actually going to be doing an update, but they haven't done it yet. But until that update does happen, you could always have your student just open up Google Classroom. You can see for yourself exactly what's happening in your child's classroom.
So, de nuevo, este es el salón de Google que habíamos hablado al principio un poco. Es un sistema de gestión del aprendizaje en la clase. Es un lugar donde los estudiantes colaboran en el trabajo de clase, debates y evaluaciones. También a los padres les da la opción de poder ver que reciben notificaciones semanales sobre cosas que han hecho durante la semana los estudiantes. Los padres, los tutores tienen acceso al programa de estudiante cuando lo invita el maestro de su estudiante. Si todavía no ha recibido una invitación, puede mandarle un correo electrónico a su maestra para que le pueda mandar esa invitación. Y también puede acceder a través del Chromebook del estudiante. Su estudiante se lleva su Chromebook cada día a casa. Ellos pueden abrir la computadora y enseñarles exactamente qué es lo que están haciendo durante el día escolar y qué es lo que han hecho durante la semana también.
So as we talk about that homeschool partnership and how our students are progressing academically, one area we want to talk about is PowerSchool. PowerSchool is our student information system and is readily available to access it from a parent or a student perspective from our district website. So from a student perspective, students could go to the student portal online and where it's accessible anywhere on the web for the students can log in and see their grades, assignments, scores, attendance schedules, school bulletin, and much more. So it really kind of gives our students May not necessarily assignments, but more or less it'll show grades and scores and how students are doing. From a parent perspective also, there is an online portal accessible the same way. Actually, the screen grab, I probably need to change it because it's actually just one button that goes to the same spot for parents and students, but there's a student and parent portal to access it. And this is where your parents can log in to see how all your children in one place, their grades, their scores, their attendance schedules, so on and so forth, that's existing in PowerSchool. The one beneficial thing that's here as well is that there are directions for our families. They're cooked right in. So when you visit our PowerSchool parent portal section on our website, which I could, that's right from our parents and community section from District 76 website, our parents can click on there. If you have never done this before, there's a help video on how to do so from this beginning to end, as well as some documents that assist our families throughout the process. I see there is a question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Sammy translate this page, and then we'll take a look at that question.
So, hablando alguna otra manera donde la escuela y los padres están tratando de mantener esa comunicación durante el año escolar es con PowerSchool. Hay dos plataformas para los estudiantes y para los padres. Es el mismo enlace, solamente que tienen que modificar la página web, pero también en la página del distrito está disponible el enlace y también videos de cómo acceder a la cuenta o cómo crear la cuenta con paso a paso de cómo hacerlo. Y ahí básicamente pueden ver los estudiantes y los padres, los grados, cualquier trabajo que tienen disponible que no han entregado o si ya lo han completado. Y también es accesible desde cualquier parte del web en el que los estudiantes pueden iniciar sesión y ver sus calificaciones, tareas, puntajes, asistencia, horarios, boletines escolares y más. Para padres es un portal en línea accesible en cualquier parte de la web, donde los padres pueden iniciar sesión y ver todos sus hijos en solo lugar, sus calificaciones, tareas, puntuajes, asistencia, horarios y boletines escolares también.
And as we had one question come in, it was about, do students have the ability to go into incognito mode on their Chromebooks? And that is a no. We disable a lot of those features as that will hide what students are doing. We want to make sure that our Go Guardian is monitoring exactly what students are doing to ensure that they're safe.
Una de las preguntas que pusieron en la cajita de preguntas fue que si el modo incógnito si se lo quitaron a las computadoras de los niños, y la respuesta es sí, eso no está disponible. Los niños no pueden acceder o entrar en modo incógnito.
Okay. So I'm going to go through a few common FAQs that I would expect myself to ask as a parent, and I want to make sure that our families are very much informed. So our first question typically would be, what does my student device, would they receive and for how long? So students receive a Chromebook bag and charger, as I mentioned before, at the start of every school year. These items are collected prior to the summer for servicing and preparation for the upcoming school year. So that kind of keeps us consistent, make sure our devices are updated, that we review it, reevaluate over the summer, update any parts that need to be replaced, just in case. So that's what you typically expect. So our students receive that Chromebook bag and charger every year and turn in at the end of the year. Is there a content filter for my students? As I mentioned before, all students' devices have content filtering and monitoring through Go Guardian. What does district managed mean? Student Chromebooks is enrolled into the district's Google Chrome Management Console. So districts can push out network access policies, filter web content, manage apps and extensions. Additionally, students cannot log into their Chromebook with a personal account. So it's a district-owned device, and our students are utilizing it for educational purposes, and it should disallow our students to sign in with a personal device, a personal account. Just at D76.org accounts. So the last question was, can my students share or communicate with anyone? Unfortunately, no, students cannot share files or communicate with non@dis76.org accounts. We kind of keep them in a nice insulated bubble throughout this time so that they can communicate with any student within the domain. So that's at District 76 or staff as well. And it keeps that just really kind of insulated and safe in an environment for school.
Okay, so ahorita vamos a hacer respuestas de algunas preguntas comunes que como padre quizás sean algo que están en su mente y quisieran preguntar. ¿Qué dispositivo recibe mi estudiante y por cuánto tiempo? Los estudiantes reciben un Chromebook, una bolsa y un cargador al comienzo de cada año escolar. Estos artículos se recolectan antes del verano para su mantenimiento y preparación para el próximo año escolar. Hay un filtro de contenido para mi estudiante. Todos los dispositivos de los estudiantes tienen filtrado y monitoreo, de contenido a través de GoGuardian. Una de las otras preguntas, ¿qué significa administrado por el distrito? Los Chromebooks de los estudiantes están inscritos en la consola de administración de Google Chrome del distrito. El distrito puede impulsar políticas de acceso a la red, filtrar contenido web y administrar aplicaciones y extensiones. Adicionalmente, el estudiante no puede iniciar sesión en su Chromebook con una cuenta personal. La única manera que ellos pueden entrar a usar su Chromebook es con la cuenta de escolar. Es una Chromebook para razones educacionales o no podrían entrar con su cuenta personal. La otra pregunta sería, ¿puede mi estudiante compartir o comunicarse con alguien? No, los estudiantes no pueden compartir archivos ni comunicarse con cuentas que no sean @distrito76.org. La razón es para mantener a los estudiantes seguros y mantenerlos como en un área más pequeña donde solamente ellos se pueden comunicar con otros estudiantes del distrito y también con maestros o personal de la escuela.
More questions, but I want to make sure we have answers for everybody. So is accidental damage covered? Student accidental damage is covered for within your student fees that happen every year. There's an exception, so a loss of a device, charger, or deliberate destruction, we take all those into account when it comes to that. So if a device is lost or there's a deliberate destruction on a device, and that's a communication we have with our building administration, we determine connecting up with families when it comes to that. So you know, when a piece breaks, like sometimes a keyboard key falls off, or you know, a camera gets dislodged, wherever the case may be, we do cover that, and we have an amazing technology staff that updates our devices and resolves them within a timely manner. What if my student needs technical support? Technical support is handled internally through teachers communicating with our technology department. So we, you know, and during the pandemic, we had a technology student support one that was for the time being. But when we're on premise and we're at school, it's always beneficial to keep everything consistent and to make sure our students are supported. So a lot of times our staff, our teachers will put in a tech ticket, let us know an issue that's happening with a particular student's device or any assistance they need, and we'll support them in any way we can within a reasonable amount of time. What if my student's Chromebook needs servicing? Students will either be issued a temporary loaner Chromebook during the time of servicing. Sometimes servicing experiences vary results on an on-premise loaner or take home. So what does that mean? Well, sometimes every little issue is a little bit different. So we do have on-premise loaners that students can use that like I said, they stay at school, they do not go home. So if sometimes it really depends on if it's a stay at school loaner or one that takes home because that device took a little bit more time than anticipated to resolve the device. But we always ensure that our students have a loaner, they have a device for instructional purposes to continue schooling as normal. And then what if my student left their Chromebook at home? So this is one thing I want to make sure a lot of our families are well informed so that our students are going to be very successful at school. So what we tell at West Oak Intermediate and Middle for that student to visit their school's front office. And the first thing we want to do is make sure they call home and see if they get Chromebook can be dropped off. It's extremely important for our students to instill that responsibility and expectation that they're bringing the device charged and they're bringing it with them every single day. It's not whenever we feel like it, we want to make sure that our students are continuously bringing the device, because as I mentioned in this presentation, they're connected to their learning management system. This is how they get their homework. This is how their schoolwork. This is how they access resources the entire day. So it's extremely important that they're doing that every day and making sure they're doing that. And I know being a parent, and I've had my student has forgotten their device at home and we've had to drop it off, and it's unfortunate, but it's very important for that student to always have their device with them and not to have a loaner for the day. But in the event that is impossible to happen, the front office will check out a loaner for that student for the day, and it'll stay in the building. It won't go home. It's a loaner for the day, and then hopefully that doesn't continue on. But we want to instill, as I mentioned through this presentation, from all of our buildings, from our staff, from our teachers talking to our classrooms, to the entire whether you're at West Oak Intermediate or middle school, is that it's extremely important for our students to be responsible, bringing their devices charged to and from school every day.
Algunas otras preguntas que quizás puedan tener es, la primera es, ¿está cubierto el daño accidental? Los daños accidentales de los estudiantes están cubiertos con las tarifas de los estudiantes, con la excepción de la pérdida de un dispositivo, el cargador o la destrucción deliberada. Esto es una conversación que tendrían con los administradores o directores de la escuela debido a, puede ser que fue alguno de los teclados o algo que pasó por accidente. Hay excepciones y dependiendo de qué es lo que pasó. Alguna de las otras preguntas, ¿qué sucede si mi estudiante necesita apoyo técnico? El apoyo técnico se maneja internamente a través de los maestros que se comunican con el departamento de tecnología. Esto solamente ayuda a que todo se mantenga en todos los edificios de la misma manera. Y el estudiante le preguntaría o le pide ayuda a su maestra. La maestra puede se comunica con el departamento de tecnología y ellos pueden ayudar a solucionar el problema. Otra de las preguntas es, ¿qué sucede si el Chromebook de mi estudiante necesita servicio? A los estudiantes se les entrega un Chromebook de préstamo temporal durante el tiempo de servicio. Las experiencias de servicio varían, lo que resulta en un préstamo mientras en la escuela o para llevar a casa. Dependiendo cuánto tiempo se va a tardar en arreglar el problema, ellos le prestan una computadora a los niños mientras de que ellos reciban la de ellos originalmente para atrás. Una de las otras preguntas es, ¿qué pasa si mi estudiante deja su Chromebook en casa? Algo que es muy importante y quiero enseñarle a todos los estudiantes este año es la responsabilidad de traer su propio Chromebook cada día con su cargador y que estén listos para estudiar y listos para estar en clase y preparados de tener la Chromebook en la escuela todos los días y cargada con batería para estar listos, porque de esa manera es como reciben ellos sus tareas, sus trabajos durante el día escolar. Ellos es algo que están tratando de motivar mucho este año. Y si algún día se les llega a pasar que se les queda en casa, les sucede a todo mundo, quieren que sepan que los estudiantes van a llamar a casa primero para ver si los padres pueden traer la Chromebook a la escuela, porque es importante que el estudiante pueda tener su propia Chromebook con ellos durante el día. Si han llegado caso es imposible que puedan venir a traerle la computadora a la escuela, en la oficina les darían una de préstamo por el día. Esa computadora se tendría que dejar aquí en la escuela al final del día, pero se las podría prestar si en caso que nadie pueda traerle la computadora al niño.
So this is a time for our families that if you have any kind of questions, I know I pre-gamed it with a lot of frequently asked questions and answers. I think it's extremely important that we don't forget anything that's very important for all of our families. But I want to make sure that our families have the opportunity to answer any kind of questions. I think we have a chat and we have a Q&A that's available for our participants that are out here. But as I mentioned, we're going to be here for a little bit just to answer any kind of questions. We do have a short survey that we have here as well, and maybe I could just throw it into the chat after I stop sharing. But you can scan the QR code or put that short URL in there, and it always gives us any sort of feedback that we provide all of our families on any parent university that we provide, and that always helps out to always grow and be better for our families for Parent University.
La última parte ahora son para preguntas frecuentes. Hay dos espacios donde puede poner alguna pregunta, en la cajita de chat o en la otra de QIA, que es preguntas frecuentes. Son dos métodos que puede ser para poner cualquier pregunta que tengan ustedes. También tenemos una encuesta aquí con el código, la cajita con el código, perdón. Es una encuesta o también puede usar el enlace que tenemos disponible, pero vamos a dejar esto abierto para si tiene cualquier tipo de pregunta o alguna duda que quisiera hacer.
I don't see any questions coming in yet. I am going to stop share just for a second and see if I could just throw this link in the chat. I think that always helps our families out to be able to click on the link and provide us any sort of feedback for our short survey. Now, Kenny, we're talking like 3 questions, which is very simple, but it always helps us out to make sure that we're providing the best quality presentations for our families. So I'm going to stop this share. We're going to pop back on the screen, hello, and then I'm just going to do that as well. Right, well, Chat here. There's chat. Goes in here. All right, there's the link. So if that helps our anybody that wants to take the survey, that is there for them to take.
So, ahorita agregaron la encuesta en la cajita del chat, por si cualquier persona que le gustaría hacer la encuesta o tomar algunos minutos para hacer la encuesta, si por favor lo podrían hacer.
All right. I think that everybody is just excited to be outside because it's so beautiful and it's so nice and the weather's just outstanding that I think everybody just wants to be done with this presentation. Just go outside and enjoy the 102-degree weather or whatever it is by you. But as I'm not seeing any kind of questions, and I value everybody's time that is participating tonight, we'll be posting this presentation on our Parent University website, which is off of our website. You can easily find it. And I thank Sammy Calderon for helping me translate today and presenting to our fantastic families, and Mr. Brandon Peterson for just kicking us off on our Parent U for year three. Year three of Parent U is fantastic.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. Hanson, as well. This is a very, very thought out presentation, and thank you all for all the families here that did offer some questions. And this will be a recording that we're going to send out to in our parent newsletters. So if you missed something and you just wanted like, hey, what would they say again? You can always refer back to that.
Muchas gracias a todos por unirse con nosotros hoy, de parte del director Peterson y también del director de Tecnología y Comunicación. Gracias por su tiempo y por las preguntas que tuvieron hoy. Y también esta grabación va a estar disponible en nuestra página web, abajo de la sección de Universidad para Padres. Este es nuestro tercer año continuando esto. Y por si en algún momento quieren ver qué es lo que dijeron exactamente sobre alguna parte de la presentación, podrían ir de regreso a ver la presentación. Y que también esperan que puedan disfrutar el bonito clima fuera de 102 grados.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye-bye.